Sorry, Brenna. What? Seriously. Like, come on. I want you to bring it up. Okay, no, the first one. Okay, so what I want you to do, the second one is relationships, the third one is spirituality. Spirituality, what we want. Fourth one is I need to line it up with what I'm going to say. I'm going to talk about it. Okay, you guys look done. That's good. Hello. Alright. Finish your points, please. Okay. Yeah, I'm calling your attention. I know that seriously you can do 10 weeks on this in a Bible study, but I want to bring us back. What are some of the ideas people had? Self-perception. Who was the self-perception group? That was you guys? What did you think? Yeah. Sure. So products bring happiness. Yep. Yep. That's good. That's exactly right. Alright. Was that you guys? For the purpose of the discussion, it's any relationship you would determine as intimate. Okay, well, which ones did you talk about? Okay. next one who you can idealize again and continue the pattern, because it's the same pattern you use in the rest of your life. Yeah. Very interesting. What's the question? In line with that, when people go into a relationship, what question do they ask? What am I getting out of it? Right? How often do you hear that question? What are you getting out of it? You know? Gosh, that's such a prevalent question. Now, it's legitimate, to a point, but sometimes it's definitely something seducing something else. Sure. It's just the proliferation of the ideas, you know? Okay. You guys. Mission. What will we follow? Is that you know good? Okay. Don't steal the thunder from the next bit. Good. Alright. What do you guys think about that? It's actually perfect that you're answering this. What is your charity? What is your charity? Yeah. Does hyperconsumerism, you think that part of the reason why there's no sustainability in that industry is exactly what you're talking about? That's very interesting, the irony behind it, that we're searching for community, which will give us validity for the choices that we make, because it is through the comparison and through the social status, but at the same time, that community is based on some sort of faith and so forth. That's right. That's excellent. All right. No, let me see. I think there might be a few more things I want to add. Um, Part of the other thing with the individual that I put down here was that it turns into you versus your friends, and even though you love your friends, it's still a social struggle between friendships, so friendships breaks down. When it comes to religion, so spirituality, God, um, we become God. Essentially, we are the God because that's what all that ties into. And that's what but in terms of consumerism, consume spiritual life. So, for example, how many people say they're Buddhist? I mean, assuming you hang out with non-Christians, would pursue some Buddhist idea of karma because it fits their life, right? Because, that makes, yeah, I like that as an idea. Right? Does it actually affect their lives? No. But they'll have a Buddhist statue in the house, maybe. Does it actually, it's funny, a lot of Buddhists in China and Tibet, particularly Tibet, are saying, stop spreading Buddhism to the West because it's being tainted by the West. Because it's turning into a commercial product which people are consuming. Like the Kabbalah Jews who Madonna became part of, or these people become part of. And sometimes it's more about you're presenting yourself as spiritual rather than maybe you actually are. Sometimes it's, why do we follow spiritual practices? Is it out of genuine accepting lordship of a religion over our lives? Or is it as an accessory that we can stick into our pocket with our iPhone in one thing and our spirituality in the other? And we'll get on to what it looks like in Christianity soon as well. Okay. Now I want to talk about what I think are 6 ideas about how we can counter this. And this is going to be the first one, covers self-deception. I think we need to actually examine our lives with honesty. Fearless honesty is the word that Mark Sayers used. relationships and start pursuing them. I think the third thing is that we actually need to have a better understanding of what missional spirituality is. We'll get onto that as well. Fourth one is we need to follow Jesus as the Lord. And that's a very specific word, not just cliche. Follow him as our Lord and our guide. Fifth one, we need to get into the cultural community. And the sixth one, we need to stay in the deep end. Each of these topics is huge, but I'll do 2 or 3 points on each. Examining your life with self-perception. Because hyperreality doesn't just affect you up here, it affects your heart, it affects your feelings, it affects the way you think about things. I think that part of the analysis of this, if we want to move it from an intellectual to a heart level, is that we actually need to examine our feelings, examine our motives, examine the way that we are thinking about everything. And that's quite an overwhelming thing to do. But we actually need to figure out where is consumerism ruling our lives, and think about it at a very, very deep level, not just a, oh, well, I like to buy things. It doesn't cut it, right? Like, think about it very deeply. Think about individualism. Where are you still the individual, the person in charge of your own life? Like, and think about it as an idea first, before thinking about it in critique. Because I know sometimes it's difficult when you know an idea is bad and you find it, the guilt can lay on top, and I don't want to go there. Just identify it first, step back, identify the things that are going on, and then we'll figure out what to do next. Some of the questions that are good to think about are things like, I don't know, how has culture affected my ability to commit? How has culture affected the way that I enter relationships? How has culture affected the way I engage with the Christian community? How has culture affected discipleship, sexuality, my values, my behaviour? How do I attempt to control my life? I've got 15 questions here, which are in Mark's book, and I highly recommend that if you're serious about examining this as an idea that might have hold of your life, it's worth thinking about it. But the difficult thing is that because this is so deeply ingrained, I think sometimes it might not just be fixed with, a bit of a prayer band-aid. What I mean by that is that yes, prayer can fix some things, but on some of these issues, some people will need to seek counsellors. There are people who are addicted to spending, and it can be an addiction. And sometimes you might need to get professional help to help through some of that. Now, I know that's like, whoa, are you telling me I need to go see a shrink? No, not necessarily. But I think it's serious enough that we need to take it seriously. So self-perception, I think we need to work through the self-perception. We need to examine ourselves honestly. Second one, the covenantal relationships. I think that we need to stop glamorizing what we see in culture. And I'm going to pull out one thing in particular, the Notebook. I'm sorry if you love the Notebook. But, and yes, but that is covenantal, yes, except for the fact that she slept with another girl when she was engaged. Right? To some degree, we need to identify, and this doesn't mean being like a Christian namby-pamby, I'm never going to watch that, but just when you're watching things, be mindful of the stories that you're being told, and be mindful of the ways that what you're reading, seeing, is affecting your life. And look at the myths. What is culture telling you about sex? Let's use sex as an example, right? All mass media tells you that, except for maybe 1 or 2 TV shows, tells you that the best sex you'll have is when it's free and with lots of people. Culture kind of tells you that. Now, admittedly, you might get into a semi-committed relationship and it'll be better, but if it doesn't work out, then don't worry, you can back out and get into another one, and it'll get better over time, sort of thing. But when was the last time you actually saw a married couple in culture on TV saying, we've been married 35 years, best sex ever? I've never heard it except for some pastor who watched it. But I think this is a myth which needs to be expelled, because the stats actually show the people who on the whole have the best sex lives are those who are in marriages, 100% of the time. And even this cohabitation, that even people who are in cohabitation, it doesn't even match up anywhere near as much with people in relationships. So I say in terms of relationships, bathe in the satisfaction of them. So what I mean is get into covenant. Look at the idea of covenant relationship, committing to someone, and then look at the idea of it and think seriously about the fact that, okay, maybe it is going to be better if I commit. But this is something which you have to work out, right? Where can I go further with this? What about other relationships? Not just, leave the sex and being with this significant other for the rest of your life aside. What about other relationships? Since when do we ever talk about being in covenant with our neighbourhood? Have we ever talked about being in covenant with the people that you live next to, your neighbours? Like, what if the reason you're in a particular building in Hong Kong is because there's someone who really needs you to love them? What if there's someone who you need to share God's way of living with them? And yet, because you're in some consumerist framework where you go to the coolest, hippest church and it's all the way over the other side of the city, you completely forget about the people who are in your neighbourhood, because it's not about them, it's about you receiving from your church, not about you living as the church. And you don't feel that God maybe has placed you in a place at a certain time for a certain someone. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? What about covenants with friends? A friend who backstabs you and cheats on you, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend cheats on you with a friend. Like, when is it okay to break up a friendship? I don't know the answer to those kind of issues, but it's worth thinking about. What does it mean to really commit to relationships? And to model what God has for His people, which is His covenant. And that's what marriage, all throughout the Bible, the marriage is seen, at least marriage, and the idea of relationships is seen as modeling God with the Father with the Son, God with the church, and then us with each other. And Christians, they shall know you by your love for one another. It's not just they shall know you because you love one another. It's also because as you love one another, sacrificially and this sort of thing, it's going to show them me. Because that's what I did. Hosea and Gomer. He asks Hosea to marry a prostitute, even though she runs away, sleeps with lots of people, and he still stays faithful to her because that is the way that God loves His people. Right? So sometimes God might call you to do things which seem totally unreasonable in relationships. Tough. It's tough, not tough love. It's tough to live in that covenantal relationship, right? Okay. Let's go on to missional spirituality. Not yet, please. Stats show that people who are a part of the struggle, I don't know, emancipation might be a good example, or a mission which is bigger than themselves, they find purpose outside of their own individual goals, they are happier on the whole than people who do not and only seek their own gains. If there's someone whose life goal is personal material gain, and that doesn't just mean pursuing a house for myself. They could be pursuing a house for my family, the pride locked up in that sometimes. Or personal achievement. I want to have 3 doctorates by the time I'm 50 or whatever. If that's your sole goal, and your life goals are wrapped up in material gain and personal achievement, they also often end up unhappy and frustrated at the end of their lives. Because in this idea of mission spirituality, the road to being happy is filled with activities that promote something called the greater good, the common good, becoming part of a bigger mission, right? So, slide 12, the next one. Back one, please. That one there. That's the question. What are some examples of activities that promote the greater good? Right? We don't have too much time to go into it, but we can think of them. Like, some people want to get involved with hijacking, because stopping people from being trafficked. That's common good. What about volunteering somewhere? What about baking a cake for the lady next door? That's the common good. What about giving someone else a gift instead of yourself? Thinking about other people. But when it comes down to spirituality, what we need to realize is that if happiness is wrapped up in something other than ourselves, then when it comes to the spirituality in our lives, anything which says that Christianity is about yourself, and this is quite a tricky point, but if the road to being a Christian is about self-improvement, self-help, then it looks like a consumer lifestyle package. I'm not going to name any pastors here, but some of them do sound like this. Then you have to reject it, because it's total nonsense, because it's not Christianity. There is some elements of truth in there, but on the whole, I don't think it's presenting something real. And part of the reason why it's not about self-improvement, and it is about a mission, is because what God cares about is not just us. I know, pretty big, so my God cares. I don't think God just cares about us, just us. I think that God actually created the world good, and the idea of creation is good, and part of our role as His followers is to help redeem the whole of creation. Not just fix myself, but actually go out and redeem creation. And that's a big work which we're going to get onto soon. But part of what it means to be a missional Christian is understand what it means to redeem the world, then get into it, get amongst it. And one of the questions that I really struggle with now is, if Jesus was here today and he did now what he did in the Gospels, would I actually go with him and do it? To be honest, I probably wouldn't, because it's tough. Like he's a tough guy to follow, right? And this is something which we need to think about, because if you look at the Gospels, how does Jesus approach people? He always asks them, follow him first. It's not have an intellectual understanding of how I fit with all the law and the prophets. It's come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And then while they're going and living, he explains some stuff to them. They come to know him as the Messiah after years. And I think in the church, part of the way that we need to be missional is less about engaging intellectually, although that is very important. Less about engaging with, just have more faith, although that is very important. I think part of it is actually going, we the church are going to live how Jesus lived, and then people are going to see that and go, that is actually working. Maybe we should start living like that. And then as they live with us, and they see how God's way of living is actually the best way of living, then they will come to know Jesus through that. They will come to know God through that. And I mean, I don't want to get too experiential here, because I think there is paths of God through intellect and through faith, through the Holy Spirit. But I wonder if part of why the church is critiqued so much is because we don't live missionally. We don't live our faith. We don't follow Jesus. And I mean, not all of what he says is supposed to be literal, admittedly. The kingdom of heaven isn't a mustard seed. It is like a mustard seed, right? But we ask for us to follow them. So, missional spirituality. To be happy, you need to be part of something bigger. And I'm suggesting that what that bigger looks like is pursuing God's kingdom on earth. And what that looks like is following Jesus. So, that brings on to the next one. Not yet, I don't think. No, that's coming up soon. Thank you, though. I think we need to follow Jesus as the Lord. What I mean by this is that many of us at an intellectual level, this all makes sense. You go, yes, I see that in my life. Cool, alright, I see it. What do I do about it? And it will never go past an intellectual level, and it's not always your fault, because it is actually our broken and emotional selves that we actually live into this sort of thing. What I mean by this, and people know this, we talk about, different people know that that's the heart condition, sin is another word, absolute depravity is another word that people use. But the thing is that your heart needs redemption and healing so that you can fix things. Because I don't think you can just fix it by yourself. And a good example, most leaders of any movement are trying to do really good stuff, but often brokenness will seep in. Actually, any plans that we do, sometimes brokenness seeps in and it becomes self-serving, self-interested. Sometimes, not always. Part of the difficulty is that I don't have any more juice left, but another difficulty is that no, it's okay. I've only got another minute. 2 minutes. 3. Part of the difficult place is that where a lot of this stuff's coming from is a very, very deep spiritual place, not just an intellectual place. We know that every marketer knows the way you make decisions is not based on up here always. Maybe 5% of the time it is. For some people who are really intelligent, like Andy, I think you probably make decisions up here often. But I think the majority of us make them here. We lust after products. I really wanted an iPhone 5S just because it's gold. It looks really cool. I see you can come up with it and right? But it comes from a deep place, and I think that the only way the deep place gets fixed is by deep healing, and that comes from God. And part of what that means is that we need to actually acknowledge Jesus as the Lord of our lives. What I mean by that is that it's not just another thing. Sometimes Christianity turns to this intellectual acceptance of beliefs. Oh, I accept that they are true. But what I think we need to do is to follow Jesus. We actually need to have that intimate relationship with him. And to seriously pursue that. Not just like him as an idea, but like him as someone we can follow. Like him as someone who will heal us. And he becomes the guide for our lives. The one who heals our brokenness, who satisfies our deepest desires. So the last 2 points, and I'll rush through these. But the thing is, you cannot, I don't think you can genuinely encounter Christianity and live it out successfully by yourself. You need to do it with community. You have to do it with community. Because try to fix yourself alone, you're just leading yourself into individualism because you're just being individual again, rather than pursuing what God created, which is the church, which is His people who can get around you. And part of what we need to do, I think, is create a new community, a new idea of community, and start living with it, where it's based on God's reality, not my reality, where it's based on asking these sorts of questions, wrestling with what it means to follow Jesus honestly and openly together, like what we're doing tonight. And we're thinking, and we're challenging, and we're going deep, and we're not just doing the same stuff over and over. But ask questions like, what would it be like if what would Hong Kong be like if it followed God? What would it actually look like? And then just run this conversation for 4 hours and see what happens. Or, what does a relationship between you and your helper look like if you live like Jesus to your helper? Right? That's a pretty tough question. And I think there's some very interesting stuff that would come out of that discussion. Or, what would fashion industry look like if Jesus did it? I mean, look, we wear clothes. It's part of life. So therefore, let's figure out what God wants to do with it. Right? Rather than just letting everyone else dictate it, let's actually figure that out. Or what would it look like if I lived in my building in the same way Jesus would live in my building? What would that look like? Right? I mean, another question. Or what would politics look like? I mean, there's many. In New Zealand, I talked to Matthew about this a while ago. There was a small community of my friends who decided that they wanted to start figuring out what does a neighbourhood look like if he moves in. Right? And so what they did is they rented like 6 houses on this street. And then they just started having brainstorming sessions and asking questions about what does it mean for us to be Jesus on this street. And they've started doing things like having barbecues every week so they can celebrate and enjoy life with people. Because what God wants you to enjoy life. Right? They do things like they babysit kids, and they intentionally go around and say, we want to babysit kids. So you guys, husband and wife, can go and have a date night because that's important for marriage. And they start caring about each other, right? What I'm suggesting is that maybe as the community we need to start asking these sorts of questions and starting to embody what it looks like to live as a Christian, not just talking to people about Jesus, but actually living to people like Jesus. Where this comes down to, I think, is in the summary of the table, redemptive living. Yes, seriously, it's the last point, Nick, I promise. What it means is, I think the idea of redemptive living speaks out of an understanding of God's plan for the world. That He is, after we fell, constantly in a state of trying to redeem the whole of creation. He's trying to redeem every aspect of the world, not just save people. He's trying to redeem the whole of creation. Right? And we can go into this a little bit further, but a good book to read about that is N.T. Wright, Justification. Very, very good book about it. Or